You ever wake up one morning thinking it's just going to be you, a hot mug of coffee, and the kind of lake silence that makes you believe in peace again, and then end up smack in the middle of a war you never asked for? That's how it started for me. And let me tell you, if you ever think your slice of paradise is safe from entitled neighbors and a power-drunk HOA, you might want to buckle up because it gets real ugly real fast. Picture this early summer in Vermont air, so still you could hear the wings of a dragonfly skimming the water, me standing on the edge of my old dock with a wrench in one hand and black coffee in the other, checking the bolts like my grandfather taught me back before my hair started to go gray. 62 acres of pine shoreline, my family's legacy, where every inch felt like home. That kind of quiet, it feels almost sacred, until it doesn't. Because all of a sudden the silence just ripped right open, kids laughing, but not the kind that makes you smile, more like the shrieking chaos that says, "We're not leaving." Cooler thuds, some guy yelling "beer me," and music pounding from a speaker set right on the pier I built myself. I look up and there they are. A whole circus, families, grills, lawn chairs, Bluetooth speakers, and a woman dragging a portable barbecue like she owns the damn place. So I wipe my hands, take the long walk around the lake, past the fire ring, under the cedars, heart tight, not even mad, just that deep ache you get when you see something precious slipping away. I try to keep it friendly. "Morning, folks, just a heads up, this is private land lakes, not public, so I'd appreciate it if you could pack up." The guy with the speaker gives me the look like I'm the parking meter guy, not the owner. Karen said it's a community lake. We live in Cedar Loop. We got access. I almost laughed. "No, that's not how it works. I own the whole lake, got the deeds if you want to see." That didn't slow them down. Another woman holding a toddler jumps in. "Well, our HOA told us we could fish here as long as we don't litter. We pay dues, so technically we contribute." I just nod at the plastic wrappers on my grass, a beer can bobbing near the reeds, fishing hooks stuck where frogs used to sun. Right, appreciate those contributions. I walk away, music chasing me like a mosquito. That night's sleep was out of the question. Not angry, just worn down by the creeping rot of entitlement. Next morning I was done being Mr. Nice Neighbor. Printed 3 bright signs, private lake. No fishing without permission. Visitors $20 each hour. Bolted one to the dock, one to the big oak, and one to a stake by the trail, then rigged a motion camera facing the pier tied into satellite internet. Wasn't about the money, it was about the line. You'd think that would settle it, right? Nope. First came the crunch of gravel, way too many tires, 4 SUVs parked on the edge, and out walks Karen Tillman herself. President of Cedar Loop HOA Arms, cross sunglasses up, flanked by 3 guys with folding chairs and a woman with a yoga mat and a clipboard, all staring at my sign, like I'd posted the 10 Commandments. I walk up, slow, hands out. No sudden moves. Karen doesn't waste a second. "What do you think you're doing?" "Enforcing my boundaries, Ms. Tillman." She jabs a lacquered nail at the sign. "You can't charge people to use a public waterway. That lake is community, now you don't own water." Calm as ever, I say, "Actually, I do, and it sits entirely on private land. My family's land since 1951. She whips out her phone, starts filming. This man, she proclaims to the world, has posted illegal restrictions on a shared resource. Our HOA maintains this lake. He wants to charge families for something that should belong to all of us. One of her guys kicks my signpost right into the water. I just tap the button on my fob dock, camera goes live. No yelling, no drama. Expect legal action, she snaps. "You're restricting ecological resources. The state will hear about this." "Let them," I say. "But until then, this is private property and you need to leave." Her crew laughs. I just turn around. 2 days later, official letter from the Vermont Department of Environmental Conservation. Complaint filed by Cedar Loop HOA accusing me of restricting public access, violating community ecological rights. Ecological rights, that's a new one. I open the filing cabinet, pull out every deed, every map, every affidavit, then call my attorney, Brian Mullins. Brian's the kind of guy who wears denim to court and makes judges laugh. He looks at my pile of paperwork and just whistles. Buddy, you ready to make this a teaching moment? We fire off a formal response: GPS data, aerial photos, full ownership chain. Brian files a counter-complaint for HOA harassment and fraudulent claims. 5 days go by. The state replies, no action will be taken at this time pending further review. Private ownership of non-navigable lakes is subject to documented boundary control. Translation: they know the HOA's bluffing, but they're not saying it. Most folks would back down, but not Karen. She escalates. And the land, if you've ever really lived on land, you know you feel when something's off. That morning, I spot a white Subaru engine warm parked where it shouldn't be. Down by the shore, there's a guy in a khaki vest and orange hard hat with a clipboard sampling rod in the water tackle box full of vials. Can I help you, Gill Watershed Action Task Force, just doing routine checks? You got a warrant? He frowns, says, environmental reviews don't need permission. Not on a private lake they don't, I tell him. He puffs up, says, maybe we should let the officials sort it out. Maybe we should. That night I chained the gatepost 2 more signs, and just in time because next morning my padlock's cut and there's a full-on party on my dock. Music, beer, people floating on my kayak like it's a public rental. I don't shout, just call the sheriff. 20 minutes later, Deputy Caldwell shows up, young, sharp, a little cautious. He listens as Karen lays it on thick claims HOA filed a temporary injunction. They hadn't says shared access principle applies. It doesn't even accuses my signs of hurting community mental health. Caldwell asks for my side. I hand him the deed survey photos of the cut lock. He reads, then looks at Karen. Ma'am, none of this justifies entering posted private property or damaging a gate. I'll have to ask you and your guest to leave. And we'll be filing a report. Karen huffs, my son's on the planning board, you know. Caldwell just shrugs. Which is why we'll do this by the book. Her group packs up, grumbling. Karen red-faced, muttering, this isn't over. That was it. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Brian and I file a formal petition naming the HOA Karen any guests or agents. 5 exhibits, aerial surveys, chain of title camera footage, the destroyed lock, and police reports. Plus a printout from the HOA's own website boasting full lake access public misrepresentation. I reinforce the gate, add more cameras, post new signs quoting Vermont statutes. I file a complaint against Gill. The inspector turns out not even certified, just a subcontractor Karen snuck in through a local grant. But the HOA, they double down. Karen calls an emergency meeting agenda leaked to me, response to aggression by landowner Eric Reed, legal strategy and access preservation. Aggression, because defending my land against unauthorized barbecues is now hostile. That week, I get 3 new letters, town council, public recreation, and some nonprofit wanting to collaboratively resolve the conflict. I don't answer. Instead, I go to the GIS office, get a certified copy of the 1951 plat survey, 62 acres lake entirely within the parcel, no public access. 5 notarized copies just in case. Then comes the local paper headline, who owns the water lake access dispute splits, HOA landowner. Karen's quoted 11 times calling me a fortress mentality guy. No one asks my side, so I film a video on my dock with my deed and map. This lake has belonged to my family over 70 years. Every inch is private property, legally documented. What's happening isn't community, it's entitlement, it's trespassing, and I won't let it stand. The video gets 40,000 views overnight. By Friday, it's over 100,000 comments raging hero of property rights versus lake landlord. HOA pushes harder, puts up their own community access signs on my land, installs benches, spray paints trees with arrows. I call the sheriff, he's stunned, files a formal property dispute. HOA sends a crew to pour concrete for picnic tables, install permanent trash bins. I hand the foreman a cease and desist. He just shrugs. I just build what I'm paid to build. I send everything to Brian. He files for an emergency injunction with the court, barring all HOA access. Karen holds a press conference on her cul-de-sac. calls me a threat to shared values, presents a petition to reclassify the lake as public. Her son, the government liaison, tries, floating the idea at City Hall, wants to use a rare clause to make my lake a public interest corridor. They're not just trespassing anymore, they're trying to legislate me off my own land. So I go public again. YouTuber breaks down the case. This is the wildest HOA abuse I've seen. The man owns the water, the fish, the dirt. Case closed. 600,000 views. HOA hires private security guy in khaki, sits across my driveway every afternoon filming me. I confront him. Next time, bring a lawyer and Black's Law dictionary because it's about to get formal. Brian emails judge approve the injunction. Now they're officially trespassing. Next night, bolt cutters' footprints in the mud, my dock sign face down in the lake, empty beer cans left like a trophy. I print the camera footage, take it to the sheriff. Caldwell sighs. Looks like we're past warnings. Criminal trespass charges finally on paper. It's real, but it doesn't stop. I get a certified letter from Dr. Curtis Baines, environmental inspector hired by the HOA, accusing me of polluting my own lake, demanding full access. He's not even licensed in the state. Another complaint, another trespass notice. I upgrade all the locks, install thermal cameras, floodlights, and back up all the footage for court. Karen calls another HOA meeting, this time plotting to build a community fishing pier right on a 20-foot strip of my deeded land. They've got sketches, a $12,000 community wellness fund. Brian and I draft another cease and desist, file complaints with the county zoning everyone. But now it's all about optics. So I bring in the news film, a drone shot of the whole property, show every sign, every violation, every map. The segment airs, calls pour in from across the country. Karen posts a Facebook rant calling me a media bully, but her tone is off. She's rattled. Then they come at 3 a.m., utility truck vest contractors. Pour new post holes, bolt up fake public access easement signs on my land. I call Brian, bring the big file. We're going scorched earth. Contractor shows up, bold as brass, starts installing benches, shrugs when I ask if he has permits. Just build what I'm paid to build. I film, call the sheriff. Karen arrives, waving a folder like she's Aaron Brockovich. We passed a resolution. This land is part of the community plan now. You don't live on the lake, Karen. You live near a lake, a private one. Caldwell arrives, tired but steady, tells her, "This is civil, but if your people keep entering, it's criminal." Later, Karen holds a press conference on the HOA, deck tears in her eyes, calling me the enemy of community spirit. I hand every legal document I have to the news, historical deeds, drone footage, water rights. Broadcast goes viral. That same night, a retired state geographer emails, offers to testify for me. HOA tries one last stunt, dumping gravel, blocking my service road. I call in every favor, surveyors, colleagues, county commissioner. We file for emergency enforcement. Sheriff posts a big red sign, entry prohibited, private property, criminal prosecution. Karen screams, then cries. And then court day. No TV drama. Just a tired judge, a stack of motions, and my lawyer calm as a lake at dawn. We lay out every document, deeds, maps, surveys, water rights, affidavits. Karen's lawyer tries to challenge the maps. I get up licensed geodetic engineer. 15 years. I teach half the state's agents. Karen's lawyer sits down. We play security footage, her crew trespassing, installing benches at 3 a.m. Karen kicking my sign in. Judge raises an eyebrow. Sworn statements from the state HOA's inspector was unlicensed. Heritage claim denied. Judge rules, Lakeshore Dock. Everything belongs exclusively to me. HOA fined $112,000 for trespass, defamation, and unauthorized construction. All public signs, benches, trash bins gone in 14 days on their dime. Karen is banned from all legal claims on the lake for 5 years and removed from her HOA presidency. That night, the lake was silent again. Just the wind, the water, the old dock creaking softly, and a brand new sign, "Welcome, by invitation, $40 an hour, HOA rate $400, posted the video 500,000 views in 2 days. Landowners from 6 states reached out. Brian and I started a side business defending property rights for folks sick of getting trampled by HOAs. And Karen, she still lives at the tip of the cul-de-sac, but she doesn't look at the lake, not since the day she was booted from her own clubhouse. You know what the wildest thing is? New folks move in and the neighbors whisper, "Don't ask about the lake," because now everybody knows it belongs to Eric Reed. So let me throw this out to you. When the law's on your side but the world's against you, where do you draw the line? What's your story about standing up to power? Drop your thoughts, your battles, your sense of what's right down in the comments. And hey, if you're tired of HOAs running wild, don't forget to subscribe, because around here, we fight for what's ours, one lake at a time.